The rule of three states, things that come in threes are inherently more appealing than those that don't. With the next generation GMC Sierra, Canyon, and Sierra Heavy Duty, we couldn't agree more. Whether you choose to have the world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate, available only on the next generation GMC Sierra SLT, AT4, and Denali models, to confidently take on heavy loads with the available 6.6-liter V8 Duramax turbo diesel in the GMC Sierra Heavy Duty, or to get behind the wheel of the only midsize premium pickup on the road, the GMC Canyon, you'll realize all three help you do one thing: go professional grade. Step up to GMC and get 20% below MSRP on next generation 2019 GMC Sierra Double Cab and SLE Crew Cab models with a traditional tailgate. We are professional grade. GMC. Offer includes price reduction below MSRP and purchase allowance. Not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers. Take retail delivery by 9/3/19. See participating dealer for details.
Hi, this is Tony Ruggiero, the Dew Sweeper. You're about to listen to an episode of The Tour Coach, which is going to give you an inside look at coaching golf at the very highest level, from on the PGA Tour with my guys all the way to here at Mobile, Alabama in the Dew Sweeper Dome, as we help folks of all skill levels, all walks of life, learn to achieve their golfing goals. All right, sitting in with me here has to be the person that travels the most, logs the most miles out there teaching on the PGA Tour, Scott Hamilton. Hammy, what's up, man?
Oh, what you doing, buddy?
Shit, that time of year. I mean, it's cold, and like we were, like we were just talking before we started taping this thing. I mean, you get to the end of the year and into the fall, and you feel like you're going to have some time off, but I mean, it doesn't ever seem like it works out that way.
Yeah, I always have this. Like, I'm excited not to be in a hotel room, and I have got better about, just trying to schedule one or two people over at a time. And I kind of live removed from society, in Cartersville. So a lot of times, my players, bulk of them stay at my house. Mm-hmm. So that kind of, and then you have some social time with them at night that's not golf. So you kind of get to build relationships like that. But also, you're with them 24 hours a day when you do that. So, it's good and bad for sure.
Talk about that a minute. I do a lot of the same. Like if somebody comes to Mobile, man, they didn't like Mobile's the biggest city in the world. So a lot of times they'll stay with me, or the same thing over at Frederica, they stay. And don't you think that relationship, I think that relationship when you're teaching those guys is really important, getting to know them and how they tick and all of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I've done it forever. My wife built houses for years, kind of her next career, but she built a little guest suite above our garage where it's kind of removed from the house, but it's in the house. And you're exactly right. Like, it's the nighttime and also they find out you have other interests and they have other interests. You just get to have that social time together where you're not hitting a golf ball. You just learn a lot about kind of the personality. I mean, every guy I teach, or girl now, I teach quite a few girls now, they all have different personalities, and you kind of figure out what makes it tick, and it helps with communication when you're actually in the teaching bay. My favorite part about doing my job is literally when you start teaching somebody and unravel the puzzle. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the part that I'm in love with, is, you get somebody that drives it bad, and you get in there and you get to, do the 3D stuff and really make some changes. But literally, after you work on somebody 6 or 8 months, you're not ever doing a whole lot. You kind of identify it right at the beginning. You're just trying to shift the pattern that direction. Mm-hmm. And then it's just kind of more mundane. But yeah, it's the beginning of teaching to anybody that's exciting. And I'll get myself in trouble like that, where I've always wanted to see somebody up close. Because no matter, people ask me all the time about golf swings on tour, besides the people you really teach, you really don't know that much about their patterns. I mean, right. You see the basic shape of it, but, until you get in there and shoot a bunch of videos, and look at it and get to see what they're doing on a pressure mat or 3D, because you really don't know what's going on in there,
Mm-hmm.
So it really is the exciting part of, like, the discovery, but that can get you in trouble. You're like, oh, yeah, man, I got time. Come on over. Some guy you've never seen, and then you get over there and work on him a little bit, and then you've got yourself another job going. So
yeah, you got plenty of jobs going on.
Yeah.
How did you get started teaching tour players? Like, what was your, how did you end up on the tour?
I kind of lucked into it. Jason Bone married a girl that's stepfather was a member of the club, and when they got out of school, he was going to play mini tour golf, and I'm not sure what she was going to do, but like 96 or 7 or something, and they moved over to Taylorsville, and I started teaching him. Well, I already taught a bunch of, but he was just out of school.
Yeah.
He was that weird deal, that guy that won the $1 million in college. So
right. I mean, he didn't even really play at Alabama.
He was a redshirt freshman, and he was actually, I think, getting ready to get in the lineup, and he won this $1 million back then. That the NCAA, I guess it was, made him to decide whether he was going to take the money or play college golf.
He did smart.
So his option was, obviously he knew he wanted to play professional golf. Well, he could be his own sponsor for the mini tour, so he took the money. So he really had, he really never got to play college golf. So when he got over there, luckily enough, he moved there, and he was really good, and he just kind of moved up through the ranks. But that was my first guy. And then I had a couple other breaks that were really good. Like, the best thing that ever happened to me was when I was out traveling around a little bit with Bone, and I was still 99% a club professional then, the head golf pro at my little club. I got to be friends with Rob Waters, and Rob Waters was working for Cleveland, and Cleveland was purchased by Shrixon, and they had 2 web trailers, so they didn't need 2 trailers on the web from one company, so they moved the additional trailer they had to my golf range to fit mini tour guys and a few tour guys. And it was like, because I had enough credibility, because I taught Jason Bone, I had this pipeline of mini tour guys coming to the end of my range in Cartersville, Georgia. And I just picked up a few more of those, like Lee Williams, Will Claxton, and, that's where I met Boo. And, that's where I met Bowditch. Bowditch was down there. And probably the most important guy for my career was definitely Stephen Bowditch. He was the guy that he was really struggling. He came out and, and then like in 05, and then he was really struggling about 9 or something, and I got helping him, and he played his way back on tour. And he and I were really close. Like the first year, he literally, I don't know how many days he stayed at my house, but I'd say 100 to 60 days he stayed at my house, because he was a young guy kind of living in a condo and didn't have any real super deep relationships going. I think he maybe had his girlfriend then, but he had plenty of time, so he just came up here and really worked on the game and stayed here a bunch. So, but he helped me immensely in introducing me to other people. It gave me where I was not teaching just one pattern.
Right.
He helped me with kind of how I designed my billing for the players. He was just so critical for me for helping my career.
That's interesting, because I think mine was the same way as far as like the business side of it. Like, I kind of learned, I knew what you did when I got out there. You'd been out there long before me, but like, you learn from players, you kind of bounce things off them. What other teachers do. It's interesting how you just said about Bowditch, how it kind of helped you figure that out, because it's an awkward thing when you first get out there.
Yeah, it makes you nervous when because you want to do it so bad, but you got to make enough money. You don't go broke while you're developing, some people to teach. And, and the problem is a lot of guys out there go out there and do it for nothing. You just can't afford to do it for nothing. They're trying to build credibility, but they're not really charging anybody anything. The next thing I never really add up what I spend per week, because one week can be way cheaper than the next, or more expensive. But, we got to be spending $1,500 to $2,000 a week.
Easy, don't you think?
Travel and hotels. So, it's not a cheap endeavor to jump right into if you don't have a pretty good pocketbook before you start.
No, 100%. And now on your way up, before you got there, I don't know that I've ever asked you this. Who were your teaching influences? Did you have anybody that?
What's weird is I had this guy, I had a couple people that were important to me. One was George Killenhofer, and he was a golf machine guy in Atlanta. And I'm still kind of an elbow plane and stuff.
Right.
He's the one that kind of introduced me to that. I got 3 or 4 lessons from George, but, not really enough where I completely knew what was going on. And then he had a guy that worked with him that they were partners in a venture. His name was Oswald Grotti, and he was important to me early on. He was a golf machine guy, too. And then literally with me, I owned the shop at this little country club, and I built my first bay. Once again, because my wife was building houses, she built this bay for me really cheap. So I had one of the first in-to-out bays in North Georgia, probably 97 or something. And I just I was booked every day of the week. I give 4 or 5 lessons literally every day of the week. I literally just gave so many lessons. I think I just kind of figured it out, and then I always say that I had evolutions in my teaching. Obviously video was the first, and then you have TrackMan that teaches you a lot that you didn't know, and then I've got the pressure mat that teaches stuff you don't know. Then you got the 3D thing I've had about 3 years that's been super beneficial and kind of what the body does. And, and then I've been blessed to teach. I mean, I don't know if anybody's taught more tour guys recently than I have.
Doubtful.
And, then you get all that data and you kind of start seeing different patterns and, how you match it up. And I don't know, I've just kind of been lucky in that aspect.
How has what you teach changed over, since like when you first started going out there and with Bowditch and
I always think about like what a bad teacher I really was back then. You know what I mean? Do you ever think like that? Like, Oh my God, like I was an idiot.
Yeah, I look back on stuff and I'm like shocked I didn't get sued for malpractice and stuff.
I just think about like the evolution of, the 3D thing that I've been doing for the last 3 years is really what taught me the most. Kind of in help. I used to teach just straight kind of plain club face stuff, and now literally because the guys you and I teach. But most of them show up. The club's going around them in a pretty good circle.
Right.
It's really all pelvis, spine, pressure, kind of what the knees are doing, the sternum, where it is at the strike. So that part's evolved so much. Part of what I did before the planey stuff, where I could clean, I'm pretty good about cleaning somebody's plane up, make their club face look decent. I see why that works, but also, you've been there. You get somebody in that goes around them pretty good, and you're like, man, that looks really good, but they don't play any good. They have foul balls in there. So that's where all this pelvis, spine, pressure stuff, learning how to sync up that club going around them has been so beneficial. So
you use, for the 3D, you use gears, correct?
I use gears, yeah.
And then for the pressure, do you use swing catalyst? Is that?
I use a swing catalyst. It's probably not the best. Those dual plates are probably the best. I was on the phone with who was I on the phone with the other day for an hour talking about the dual plates. Think about it. Everybody knows them. But that just the swing cap plate's great. It's easy for the player to understand.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives you an idea what's going on. It's like everything. You bought technology, you get into it, you think, man, this is the deal, and you kind of fall in love with it. And you do use it a bunch, and then, and then you got to get stuck and you got to get this part. And then once you realize it's all the big pie there, and the pressure is a little important, the body's a little important, the plane's it's all a little bit of all of it.
Right.
Just kind of blending it all together.
Just curious, and this is as much for me. I like to pick your brain, and I've shown you plenty of videos in airports along, but has the 3D helped you teach different styles of players?
100%. I'm telling you, the 3D is cool in two aspects. You get somebody in there that you've never taught before, and I'm talking about, a tour guy, but this work on anybody. You get somebody in there you've never taught before and they're struggling, you throw them on there, there's going to be some outliers in what their body does. So you look at that, and that gives you a ton of information. The second phase where the 3D is so important is you get some guy that's striping it. Like, for instance, Russell Henley, I taught him like in 15 or something. He was playing really well, 15, 16 or something like that. And I haven't taught him a few years, but like all my guys, I don't burn bridges with players that don't use them anymore. Needless to say, fire me or whatever. I don't care. There's always somebody else coming that you're going to help, and it gives you a chance to build a new relationship. So I'm always stay really close to all the guys I used to teach too. It's just, I don't have that ego issue,
Yeah.
So, but Russell he's hitting it pretty good, but he lost a bunch of club head speed. So, and he'd had some back issues. Like he'd had some pressure in his mid back. So I was talking to him somewhere, and I'm like, Russell, you ought to just ride up and jump on this 3D, because I had a gears capture from when he was really driving it good.
Yeah.
And hitting it far. And he came up yesterday, and we got on there and spent 2 hours. And it was obvious, like, how his pattern was similar, but it changed a bunch. And like what his left knee was doing really, and where his spine was, and change of direction. And, I mean, we just made a couple slight adjustments to him, kind of put him back where he was, which I would have never – I kind of saw it on video, but I wouldn't know what to tell him to do. And then his club head speed started ramping right back up, and he said he didn't feel the pressure in the middle of his back. And
That's
all we kind of did was put him back where he was. So it's like Hudson Swafford, he's hitting it really well now. He came up a couple weeks ago just because he's striping. And I said, just come up here and let me get a 3D capture so we have it for down the road.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we get lost here, we'll know where to put you back in. Like, you know, I taught Brendan Todd back in the day. I would have killed to have some captures of him back when he was really playing well.
Right.
And then we tried to shift his pattern around a little bit because he wanted to hit it farther and kind of be able to hit some high draws and stuff, and that just didn't work for him, and kind of gave him the yips instead. And it'd been great to have that information to go, hey, just do this and match it back up, because you can match them right back up. That's, to me, when you're teaching tour guys and you got a guy playing good, like I captured Matt Every not long ago when he's swinging at it really good, and I've got that in the memory bank for when he gets off, you know?
Yeah, I said to somebody the other day that one of the biggest things that, you know, like I didn't have very much technology at that point. Shit, I couldn't afford it, you know? But like, I wish I'd have had more stuff saved in data from like when I was working with Smiley and he played great that 18 months,
man.
You know?
I mean, wouldn't you love to have that capture, like right when Smiley was in the tour group, like in that area? And,
yeah, and like Augusta, you know when he played.
It wasn't you know what I mean? It's like, I'm telling him the right thing. I mean, you know, and as you know, obviously we're, you know, and it's interesting, and you've been through it as a teacher. Like then you get back and you start working, and you're trying to sift back through and find ways to get it back to that. And it's challenging. I mean, it's rewarding. Like he's starting to play better again, so it makes you feel like you're doing something. But like it would be so much easier if you had all that data. I mean, it wouldn't have been a year search or whatever. Well, it's like with Russell, what would have taken if we'd ever stumbled on it? I mean, because it was so microscopic. I mean, it took, literally 10 minutes after he hit 2 or 3 balls, we looked at the gears capture and we're like, okay, this is what's different. I mean, it just accelerates the process so much and just makes it so much easier. And, I mean, the thing with me is I'm only trying to teach. The thing that I've learned from the 3D is that the bulk of the tour guys, like I've captured a lot of PGA Tour players and LPGA players. They all literally do the same thing within parameters.
Right.
What I mean by that is they all kind of tilt their pelvis, get the right side, right-handed golfers get the right side of the pelvis up high. They shift over on top of it, and then they push the left side of the pelvis up and out of the ground. If they're draw biased, their spine's more right bent sooner and gets more right bent at impact. If they're fade biased, their spine is more neutral to even target side and change the direction and then get less right bent at touch. But you can kind of, left knee, right knee, pelvis, where the spine is. It's just not that hard when you got that 3D stuff just to watch and see where a guy's off,
Right. Because I agree. They all fall. Like all those guys are good. And most of the time somebody comes to you, they're not super far out of whack. It's just figuring the deal out. The bulk of
the time a tour guy shows up, they've got too big of a mess, and you're just trying to just kind of help a big mess,
Everybody has different patterns and hits different shapes, but what are some of what are some of your preferences or things that, like, when you see a golf swing that you really like, what are those things that you really like in a golf swing?
The biggest thing I like now is change of direction. When the left arm gets past parallel on the backswing and the lead arm's climbing, it's climbing up past parallel, that right in there they start shifting to the left side and the low point of the left shoulder works down and forward and they get over on top of it. It just gives you tons of club face stability. Mm-hmm. And what you don't like is when you get some college girl or boy in there and they swing back and get behind it, and then their left shoulder goes shooting straight up to the sky,
yes,
and their back right bent way behind it. That's what I really dislike. And, somebody that shifts over. It's where you look at a guy like Tom Hogue.
Mm-hmm.
He's, his arm swing around him, the club's not as tight as a lot of tour guys, but his shifting pattern on top of it's incredible, how he slides over on top of it. And the guy's a phenomenal iron player. So it shows you that, sometimes when I was younger and was so consumed with playing, because I wouldn't have been super in love with Hoagie's playing whenever I was a younger instructor, but now I look at him, I just see how well he gets over on top of it and standing on top of it at the strike. And I'm in love with that. And that trumps the arms, the club going around him that's not as quavy pretty as like a Adam Scott. You know?
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So you like the ability to shift and get on top of it and cover it, kind of more than, I think we've talked before. I think we teach some similar, in my perfect world, that's what I'd love them all to be able to do. You know,
the guy that I use is a guy you teach, and I'm friends with him, and he's one of the best guys around, is that Lucas Glover. And he's a guy, like, if Lucas has got a stalker on the PGA Tour rank, me, like, he's hitting balls. And I'm friends with Lucas. He doesn't care, but I don't try to bother him when he's hitting, but he's hitting beside one of my guys. My guy thinks I'm shooting a video of him. I'm shooting one of Lucas, That guy loads it, moves over on it, and thumps it better than anybody on tour,
That's why we're, and not to get into teaching debates, but where people don't like lag, Yeah. We've talked about that before. I'm like, everybody that really thumps it, that really hits it good, lags the shit out of it.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's like, can you lag it to get it out of there? Boo Weekley's the guy I teach that hits the best with lag. And, there's too much of anything. What I always try to tell people, and sooner people figure that out, is there's not one golf swing that's made for every shot. Everybody's golf swing has strengths. Like a guy that lags it a bunch probably is not going to be the guy that hits a 3-iron out of a bunker face, big high bunker face, and hits it 120 feet in the air and lands it on a green. It's not what they are, but they're going to hit every 7, 8, 9, 6-iron on the green, because they thump it and have so much face control. It's just give and take. A lot of times the super laggy guys aren't the best chippers because they can't unload it.
Right.
Some of them can pull it off, but it's give and take. And I never try to teach somebody. I always teach them to their strengths. I'm never trying to remove stuff from them that I think makes them really good at one thing to make them a little bit better at something they're not as good at. If that makes sense. I'm trying to teach them their strengths and then play around their weaknesses, really, more than anything.
Who's your favorite golf swing out there to watch?
Probably Lucas. That'd be old Buck. That's why I'm stalking him, man.
Yeah. Who's your favorite?
I love Lucas. He's such a great guy, man. He's the salt of the earth, just a country boy, and he's good to bum dip off of.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. He's just a great guy to, I've enjoyed it too, because he's been so good with like my young guys as they come up too.
Yeah, man. That guy's he's a different bird. Like he's this kind of redneck that reads $100 a year, man. He's a smart guy that, people, unless you really get to know him, don't really know what the whole package is there.
No question.
There's a lot of golf swings I like on tour. I always like Charlie Hoffman's. His golf swing seems really simple, and I like Harold Brenner's golf swing, which Harold, I teach him. It's really cool. Boo obviously is. I told people years ago before I taught Boo, if there was a guy I'd ever wanted to teach, it'd be Boo Weekley. Now probably 10 years now, so I never get tired of watching it. It's incredible.
Man, how solid does he hit it every freaking time?
Oh my God, I've sat on the back of the range in Houston with him this year, and it's a joke, man. When he gets it where he wants it, it's a joke. He just doesn't hit it offline. It's as close to a machine,
When a guy like Boo gets off, okay, because it's like, to me, it always looks solid, right? And what does it happens? Like, how does a guy that's like a machine get off?
It's the problem. The problem with guys like that, you probably aware of this, Lucas. They're way harder to work on somebody that's loose. It's really hard to see what part's not working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And most of the time with a guy like Boo, either he's got too steep, like he thumps down on it. And Boo hits push draws, but they're all attack angle draws, like so. His swing direction on a TrackMan would be relatively zeroed out, but he's 7 or 8 down, so all the right to left comes from the down. And then if he gets 2 down, then it gets to be a problem. So a lot of times, a lot of what we're doing is just try to, and shallowing out Boo is taking it from 10 to 7.
Yeah, it's not making it 4.
It's not that. I always laugh when I look at that, and I've got the table, the chart up in my bay, the TrackMan average thing they put out, and they need to update that thing, but the one they put out 10 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, and why I say that is because about 5 or 6 years ago, I was looking at that chart, and, it has all those angle attacks that are real shallow, if you tour guys. And I had 2 guys in the top 10 total ball strike here. And I knew they were both, with a 6-iron, they were both way more like 6 or 7 down to 5 down, significantly more down than the chart says. So I put a piece of paper in my, and I just walked up and down the range over the next month or so and found the top 10 guys on the list and asked them how down they were with their 6-iron. And everybody on that list, except for Duffner, was more down than the tour average. So it just kind of told me that, like, guys that hit it really good are really good. And if you're at the top of that list, you're probably a really good iron player.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you're on that total ball striking list. So this tells me the guys lag it and thump down on it way more than, like, what they think the average guy is. A lot of times, and you see this too, man, when you go range to range, there's variations, and it'll show up across the board. You'll show up somewhere and everybody's 2 or 3 more down. It's a turf condition, or how soft the ground is, or I don't know what it is, but I'll get weeks. I'm like, okay, everybody's way more down this week than they were the other week on this range.
What about driver attack angles? What do you see?
Honestly, I like my guys to be around level, one down, one up. I've got guys that hit up on it. Kirky's kind of 2 or 3 up and 2 or 3 to the right. Most of my guys are pretty level. I
don't think they swing up at it. Do you think that the people swing up at it as much out there? They people think.
Tested it. I mean, when they started collecting that data on, I think the average launch. I was talking to one of the TrackMan guys one time. They collect the data from the range and they get all that stuff from the golf course.
Yeah,
I know the launch goes down to like 9 degrees on the golf course for the average tour guy. And I mean, if you get a club rep over there and the guy's launching at 9 degrees, they're going to build up some driver that makes it go up in the world. And you know this as well as I do. There's nothing harder in the world than to build a driver for a tour player on a range. Because how many times have you had one built and it all matches up and it's a 10 launch, 2,300 spin. It's doing just what they want it to do, and they take it out on the golf course and play 2 holes with it, and they hate it.
All the time.
I mean, it's fitting tour guys on the driving range is literally worthless.
Whatever they with a bunch of players,
those shot shapes and those alleyways, they start whacking down on it more, and and their speed goes up. The biggest thing with best players in the world is their speed's going up on the golf course, man.
Oh, for sure.
Which the friction goes up, the spin goes up, and that thing that looked perfect on the driving range is just worthless.
Oh. No, I mean, it's hard too. And as you know, those guys are constantly, if a guy says he wants to try a driver, it's a cluster.
Oh my God. I tell people half the time, half my job's just to get my guys not to do something stupid.
Yeah. No.
Because they're giving stuff away out there fast as they give it away, and you're doing a driver fitting. You got one shaft guy on one side of you and one shaft guy on the other side of you. Some guys use one manufacturer's shafts for a long time, and they see him trying something else, so they come running up and get in the middle of it. It's something.
It's a zoo out there. It's a zoo. Yeah, it makes you ready for January, doesn't it, Scotty?
Yeah.
Can't wait. Doubt. Scotty, this has been awesome. Appreciate you taking the time. First, congratulations on the adoption.
Oh, that was this morning, man. We went down there and signed Gracie up to be a Hamilton for the rest of her life. So
she didn't know what she's getting into, does she?
Whew, she's got her hands full, bud.
You're one of the best. Hey, I not only for sitting in, but all the times that you've looked at video for me and some advice and stuff. I appreciate it, bud.
I'm always trying to learn something myself. That's for sure. One of the best things I tell people about being a teacher on the PGA Tour is it's not like the internet where everybody hates on everybody.
100%.
Honestly, we're all friends out there, and everybody knows how complex it is at that level. And I've asked Foley, I've asked you, I've asked Tillery, I asked BJ Trollo, I asked people what do you see in this? What would you do with this? Because I'm trying to get some information from one of these other smart guys to help me out,
Oh, absolutely. and this is be a story for a different podcast, but the internet stuff I hate that. And like, I love the stuff that you put, I love the stuff that you put out there on social media, you know, and you give a little tip about a little insight into what you do. And I don't do it very much because I just get sick of like somebody who's never taught anybody in the entire world has a free shot at you. And then you got to sit there and deal with some moron.
I don't even pay attention to it. I mean, I can't put a video of Harold Varner up there and they don't want to know why his right foot drags up like it does. I'm like, I used to say he's got so much forward lean that for him to get it airborne, he's going to back pressure his right foot. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, and I can only tell him so many times and I just given up on it, man. You know?
Well, you've done awesome with Harold. I mean, and Harold's one of the great guys out there too. I mean,
fantastic, man. His glass is half full.
All the time.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Scotty, thanks again. Appreciate it. I'll see you out there in Palm Springs, buddy.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Tour Coach with Tony Ruggiero. If you enjoyed this, make sure to hit subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you are listening to this podcast. You can stay up to date because we have weekly episodes coming your way with fascinating people in the world of golf instruction at the highest level. Make sure to subscribe and stay tuned. If you want to learn more about Tony, head over to dosweepersgolf.com to get all the details on what he's up to. Maybe you want to see him, grab a lesson, or go to one of his camps, pick up his book, Lessons from the Legends. You can do that there. If you want to see Tony in action with some videos and other content, head over to golfsciencelab.com/Tony to get more info there. This episode was powered by the Golf Science Lab and was edited, mixed, and produced by Just Hit Publish Productions.
There's one thing, if you know about me, if you've listened to the Dew Sweepers, you've come to listen to me talk, is you know I'm big on loyalty. We give 100% here at the Dew Sweepers. We put a lot of emotional investment into everything we do with every one of our players. And the same can be said for our partners and the folks that have been with us for the long haul and help the Dew Sweepers, help our juniors, help us get to our tour players. And so I want to give a special thanks to our sponsors. Our sponsors are, first and foremost, Buick and our local Buick dealers here around the Southeast, Shrixon Cleveland Golf, who've been with me for over a dozen years, and their belief and support of what we do here with the Dew Sweepers. And lastly, the folks at Vineyard Vines. The folks at Vineyard Vines love what we do with junior golf. They support us on the road. There isn't a better family or group of people that are going to help us look our best, play our best, and have more fun than the folks at Vineyard Vines. So special thanks to our sponsors. Please support those as you get the opportunity. And for more information about any of those, check us out at dewsweepersgolf.com, or you can always check me out on Instagram at @thedewsweeper.